coming towards you, and he's got a ton of HP regen, which they buffed in the recent patch, so he's hard to kill, harder to kill than ever. He already has a lot of HP. Between the slows and stuns, he's just a huge annoyance. Plus, yeah, he scales very well into late game as support. He's got that bloodlust to buff any carries that they have, and then of course he's got that old casino luck of the draw multicast to fall back on. So just a solid hero all around, especially in this patch.
Hmm. And with this patch, though, they buffed Bloodlust so that it goes now pierces magic immunity, so you can cast it on allies that are BKB'd, and it also will not be purged by allies that BKB, which is really nice. And it was something that was really tough to deal with because basically, if you're a core, unless you have an Omni Knight, in which is the same problem but just built not just built into a hero, um, you want a BKB every time almost. Like there's very few circumstances where you don't want to get a BKB. Maybe you don't want to get one early, but you want to get one eventually. So, but
Yeah, so it's nice to have that not cancel out the buffs you want to put on them. Of course, Omni sometimes it's annoyance where you have somebody repelled, but then oh damn, I can't heal them. So
hmm
yeah,
hmm
no issues like that for the ogre.
and I think Omni needs to stay like that. If they change that so that you can heal through magic immunity, holy crap, gonna gonna be ridiculous. But at the same time, though, Omni's neither here nor there. The heroes we got, we banned out a Faceless Void, banned out a Templar Assassin, and I'm thinking the TA ban isn't a something they're too worried about techies picking up, but they're worried about that counter something they want to take in for their mid lane. Not sure what that is. We'll have to wait and see. But that's just my initial thoughts on that. I like the Witch Doctor pick. Solid support. The Coconut can be very strong. And if he decides to go the hard support build with the Voodoo Restoration, the sustain is immense, and if he goes Maledict, the damage can be ridiculous. Also, those two supports roam very well together.
Yeah, I like that. The coconut. The Venge pickup was almost, I want to say, possibly reactive to the Witch Doctor. The Venge has two ways of canceling the Witch Doctor ultimate, and as we've seen, the Witch Doctor ultimate, the Death Ward, is quite potent in team fights later on. On this offlane Tidehunter, as you mentioned, he played extremely well on the Tide. Last game, the Timbersaw player, who I'm assuming is going to be on the Tide again. But Tide has a little bit less of that, I want to say, skill cap wiggle room potential to just wreak havoc as that Timbersaw did, but I'm still expecting good things out of this offlane, and we're starting to see some of the more cores pick now, so the teams will be showing their hands.
Hmm. I like that ban coming out from Techies, though. I don't know if they were maybe watching the last game, knew who they were playing next, or if they maybe they're friends with the team that was played or something like along those lines. But they banned out the Spectre, and if you guys didn't catch the last game, VOD will be up eventually on my YouTube channel. Selfless plug. Wolf Dota, follow me. Um, the Spectre went ham. He farmed very well in the lane, got ganked a little bit early, but he made very good item choices and was able to. He made some very solid item choices and was able to come online and wreak some serious havoc there once he got that Radiance Diffusal Blade and just one or two other items picked up. So good ban from them. And Techies is waiting to pick up one of their cores. I assume it's three cores left from them: a mid, offlaner, and farmer. And there's an offlaner in the Bristleback.
The Bristleback presents an interesting choice. He's in league with Undying and Timbersaw as heroes with that are surprisingly hard to kill or just annoyingly hard to kill. You go on them and you think you almost have them. And Bristleback is responsible for a lot of turnarounds like that, with of course his passive allowing him to negate damage and shoot out quills in return once he reaches a certain threshold. So Bristleback is a pick that I really like this Bristleback going in the offlane because it kind of limits the options possibly a little bit for the Dire, where you can't have a hero that's too useless or too dependent on babysitting. Otherwise, it seriously hamstrings your potential mobility because most heroes just can't sit in lane solo against a Bristleback and not have to worry about getting killed.
Yeah, killed or even just harassed back to the point where they might as well not even be in lane. Um, Warlock. You don't see him very often. Love the hero, but kind of I really want this to be a core Warlock. I don't think it
Yeah,
will be,
me too. That's
but
I back in the day. I mean, you'd have to solo mid warlocks all the time, and yeah, there's a lot
yeah,
of team fight coming out from the Dire.
I imagine probably go maybe a value point in Fatal Bonds just because it did get buffed. It's 25% now, but Fatal Bonds with a Shadow Word up into the Upheaval and Chaotic Offering. I don't know about that pick though. Medusa into the after a Warlock, because you're gonna Fatal Bonds the Warlock and then focus Medusa, and her team's gonna die. I'm I don't know. That's I think that's a little risque.
That could be the case, and as we see, kind of a counter carry pick there from the anti-mage to, of course, burn the Medusa's mana, and he's also a hero that does a little bit better against Bristleback Quills. He's got that magic resistance, and of course he can blink away if the Bristleback tries to seriously threaten him. So I like that carry pickup coming out from Herpes.
Yeah, you can blink away from the Quills. They're physical damage, so they will go through that spell shield. But at the same time, I think again a pub game I played. Um, Buddy was on, or friend was on Warlock. He had the entire enemy team Fatal Bonds. Anti-Mage got a max level mana break on a Tide Hunter that had about 1200 mana, and he got an instant ultra kill on the enemy team from full health because they were all got hit by the 25% of the Fatal Bonds, as well as were all under the like in the actual area of effect of the mana void. And so if you're mana voiding a Medusa and she's linked to her allies, and that is not a hard combo to set up. All you have to do is just like Warlock wanders up, Fatal Bonds, and then dies. Anti-Mage throws in his illusions, burns the Medusa down, and then ulties. It's not a terribly hard combo to land, and I really like the draft coming out from Herb so far. I think it's pretty effective. Haven't really talked about the bans yet though. Storm Spirit final ban from Herps and Nyx Assassin. That's a pretty standard ban up when you want to pick a Medusa though. Is the Nyx Assassin that Mana Burn does so much.
Yep, and we see the Ember, who looks like he's going to be going mid, coming out from Techie Suicide Prevention line. I will say a couple things about the Medusa. I do like the hero. She's been buffed recently. In some sense, in some lineups or some situations, picking the Medusa kind of puts a clock on the game. So to speak, it's like, hey, if you don't kill her or start taking objectives within a certain amount of time, she's going to become so strong linking that she'll be hard to deal with. But this game might be an exception, partly because Herbs kind of sat on their carry pick until they picked a hero that does very well against Medusa and can disengage from her ultimate and, of course, burns away her mana. So this game, yeah, I think giving away the Medusa pick, or rather taking that pick and showing your hand a bit early, might have hurt them. They could have waited for Herbs to commit and maybe take a carry before they did that. Also, there's kind of a mismatch theme with the lineups because Bristleback is a very strong hero early, as is Ember Spirit, and sometimes teams will pick up Bristleback, running him almost as a carry and saying, hey, let's push early and force towers against a hero who needs space and time to farm like the Anti-Mage because the Bristleback is so hard to fight. But Medusa kind of runs counter to that playstyle or that plan because she is a relatively dependent hero and she needs lots of time. So it'll be interesting how they choose to play this.
Yeah, Herbs has taken a lot of time with their last choice. As a whole, they have some pretty solid lockdown. They've got a couple nice hard stun coming out from the Venge, the Magic Missile, the Ravage, as well as the Warlock Golems. Not the longest stun, but it is a solid counter. Then you've also got the Upheaval, which is very good as far as just movement in general. I really like that spell. I think it's pretty effective. Anti-Mage, they'll be able to get, after Medusa's used her Stone Gaze, if they can get a solid Upheaval off on her, she's just going to die because they have no other way unless they get some Force Staffs to get her out of that. Ember Spirit's a little harder to deal with. Ooh, this is the second OD we've seen today. Last one did very well.
Yeah, absolutely. And they picked their mid last. As you mentioned, they might have done some bans to get rid of some heroes that would either present a problem to the OD or be a hero that he doesn't want to match up against. And they felt safe taking him here against the Ember Spirit, probably figuring the Ember Spirit's not going to be able to kill him. And not having mana is an annoyance very early for the Ember Spirit because it limits his mobility and it limits his ability to go around and start killing the other lanes.
Yeah, and so I think OD is going to have a decent matchup. It's probably going to be a Ember Spirit in the mid lane, I would imagine. But going to quickly run through the teams and then we'll talk lanes. On the Radiant side, we've got Ninja Cat playing the Ember Spirit. Dwight D. Eisenhower playing that Witch Doctor. Fridge Master handling the Ogre Magi. Snuggied on the Bristleback. And Darieth on the Medusa.
Yeah, and that's a nice variety of names there. Here we have Herpes Apollo. Looks like he's headed mid with the OD. We have French Fries, their stand-in carry player on the anti-mage. We have Doctor Evil on the Venge. I believe he was their offlaner last game, so he's not going back to that role this game. We have instead Doctor Jeff on the Tide Hunter headed to the offlane, and on the Warlock Epstein Barr.
Yeah. So I think you were right. I think it was Doctor E. I can't remember if it was Doctor Evil or Doctor Jeff that was on the Tide Hunter. It was one of them now. Unfortunately, I can't remember which one was which, but either way, one of the doctors. They all played well, and so it's interesting to see how they handle it. It was the HVG that did the level 1 Roche ninja tactics there. So Herbs is going nowhere near the Roche pit. There's this huge opening around the Roche pit that none of the heroes want to get anywhere near.
Yep, they did send the ogre down here to maybe get that rune, and ogre's a bit tankier, and I think they're not expecting the same kind of trap this game, and yeah, there'll be nobody jumping out from the pit to pick up that
Hmm.
first blood this time.
Oh, for sure. The and it is the Ember Spirit going in the mid lane up against an OD. I feel like OD wins this fairly solidly. Ember Spirit relies on being able to use some spells to harass back and last hit, and when he has no mana, I think he's gonna have a pretty rough time. You agree with that, or
Yeah, yeah,
yeah?
I think it's another nice pick coming out of the mid. Last game, their mid might have been at a slight disadvantage, even though he still farmed well, but they managed to match up and they got their objective out of it. In this game, I think we're going to see more of the same. This matchup should be
Hmm.
pretty good for the OD.
Yeah, up in the top lane, it is a defensive tri lane coming out. Keep making sure that Anti-Mage gets some farm, and Bristleback should never kill Anti-Mage, but can certainly prevent him from farming. So they're going to have to keep their supports up here, prevents them from roaming to other lanes, so they know they'll be all right. Up in the bottom lane, it is going to be another defensive tri lane, except this one I think is a much better chance to roam. Tide, well, he won't get killed by the Medusa either, but he can't harass her back the same way he can a melee core. So I think the supports there, they can maybe pull back the jungle a little bit and rotate out and help out, maybe gank mid or the safe lane if they want to.
Yeah, a quick word here. I would actually like to see an adjustment to an aggressive tri lane by the Radiant. I think Medusa can hold her own against the Tide Hunter. Mystic Snake is good at stealing mana, as we might have
That's
a
it. Up
first blood up
top
here.
though, we Snuggie is going to get or sorry, not Mystic Flare. He's going to get Magic Missiled and brought down quickly by the Anti Mage. First blood going towards him. Carry on with your point.
Yeah, a bit aggressive of him up there. He tried to get the first blood himself, but ran out of mana. Of course, the anti-mage does burn some mana with the attacks, and Bristleback at level 1, level 2 doesn't have a huge mana pool, so he already used a good chunk of that earlier, fending off the harass, so he just didn't have enough juice there to finish it off, especially with the anti-mage burning him. But as I said, I think it would be a good idea for them to try and make this into an aggressive tri-lane because the Medusa can hold her own and still get farm. It doesn't look like they're doing a great job of zoning out the Tide anyway, who has 2 points in Kraken Shell, so I feel like you might as well go top and make life hard for the anti-mage while your core still gets farm. But I don't
Yeah.
think that's going to happen this game.
No, it doesn't look like that's what they want to do. Well, Witch Doctor has a DD rune, and one thing you don't think of is Witch Doctor hitting hard, but he's got decent base starting damage. 58's not bad at all, and with a DD rune, they could look to harass with this Tide quite a bit if they decided to, but it doesn't look like Witch Doctor's going to be in position. That DD rune's about half gone. Gonna loop around here though. This ward, if Witch Doctor comes down the lane, it's not really gonna see him. Just some, yeah, this is just gonna be some really annoying right clicks coming for Dr. Jeff, but he still hits hard. Cass comes out as well. Oh, he gets the bounce. What are the odds? Then the Mystic Snake as well. Maledict, is that gonna take him down? He got it on there. Gonna wait for it to proc, and I don't think that's gonna kill him. It needs to proc twice more, and no, it's not. He's gonna be able to walk away from that. So close call by the Tide. Good thing he backed when he did. That I don't know if he saw, but the Spidey senses were tingling. He was able to get out of
Yeah,
there.
they do have the Dire do have a ward down here, so they were able to sense and see some of the aggression. And that second value point actually in the Kraken Shell paid off there in keeping the Tide alive.
For sure. That the couple right clicks he took would have been the difference between living and dying there, definitely. Or if Witch Doctor had been level 3 and had that extra point up in Maledict, would have been able to get him as well. But that's neither here nor there. It was a nice play by the Tide, able to kind of waste some time by getting harassed back a little bit and didn't die. Didn't end up paying for it with his life. So good stuff all in all. Twitch chat's telling me Dr. Jeff was the offlane, so it is the same guy. Shout out to Butcher for that one.
Thanks,
But,
Butcher. Sorry, Jeff. I sullied your name, man. I sullied your name.
Apollo in the mid lane, he's leading the farm charts. Him and his buddy the anti-mage in the safe lane though, both at 20 CS. Medusa's only got 13, so she's getting some farm, but not as much as her counterparts here. So interestingly enough, French fries not getting as much farm as he did in the previous game. But nonetheless, the Dire is pulling ahead in there, and they are getting more out of the map in general, as the net worth says that. About 700 in their favor. That's probably the 2 kills, though. Ogre Magi ganks up the mid lane. They managed to get the OD, and he almost dies himself. Venge is looking for a stun, but not going to be able to find it unless Ogre just kind of lets him. What are you doing, buddy? That's a risky ward, and it's not going to be able to get the stun.
Yeah, no, that was a nice rotation. That is it's not totally a lane shift, but it's what I'd like to see out of the supports. You have pretty good ganking potential with the Ogre, and the Witch Doctor helps too, and of course the Medusa can take care of herself, so I like that they're applying pressure elsewhere. The Ember, of course, has 182 max mana. He's currently sitting on minus 14 intelligence. It's like he starts eating rocks for breakfast or something, but eventually if he gets his mana back, hopefully he can get some rotations out of it and continue to apply pressure top on this anti-mage.
Yeah, and OD is level 6 now, does have that Sanity's Eclipse, can drop the hammer as needed. Tied level 4, got that second point in Anchor Smash. Probably no stacks up in the Ancients yet, I checked a little earlier, so he won't be able to stack that quite yet. But Ember Spirits got his Remnants as well, so we can see him rotate around or start using the map a little more efficiently, being able to TP around and leave a Remnant behind and whatnot. Witch Doctor looked like he was going to go for a gank. Oh, but OD is too far back. Decides not to go for it at all. The Ogre sitting at level 3, about to hit level 4. Bristleback in the offlane, someone we haven't really talked about, is now level 6, going the 1-3-1. I think that's probably the best build. The Nasal Goo can just be so handy. Tide gets harassed back quite a bit by the Medusa, probably from Mystic Snake. So all in all, the lane's kind of just a little static for now. No one's really rotating around too much other than these two supports.
Yeah, I want to point out that just a small thing for those of you Medusa players out there. When you cast that Mystic Snake, as it bounces, it does more and more damage. So while she may not have been able to finish off the Tidehunter there, if she had waited till the creep wave was there and cast on the creeps instead, the bounce may have been enough to
in the
kill
mid lane, though, they're going to look to rotate onto Apollo. They get the stun off as well as the chains, and he's going to drop quickly. Maledict was on him. That said, Witch Doctor wanders out of there with 8 health. Whew! That was
cutting that one close.
Yeah, cutting that one very close. OD did not get off his ulti. If he had, that might have been a kill. Wouldn't have had to do much, but in the end, he gets controlled up too much.
I like the Witch Doctor's build this game. I mean, most Witch Doctors in that support role will get a point, of course, in the heal because it almost like it's like a free mech early on. But in this game, he hasn't had to do that as much. He figures the Medusa's not going to be in danger. Let me go get more offensive spells first so I can help pressure and gank these other lanes. And that's exactly what happened there. Is they picked up another kill on the OD.
Up in the top lane, looks like they're rotating around into this Bristleback. He's out of mana, looking for that stun. They decide not to go for it. Dr. Evil's like, you could farm. Speaking of the farm, Anti-Mage sitting at almost 8 minutes in. He's got 39 CS, so again, doing fairly well. He does have that Claymore, going to have that out to him, and he's got the Ring of Health, so he's doing alright. About to hit level 6 as well. We'll have that Mana Void if he needs it. Warlock's ulti, or not ulti, sorry, Upheaval's coming out, and look at how slow that Remnant's moving. They're not going to be able to go. The Cask goes out, I think just got absorbed by the creeps, or didn't bounce at all. And kind of just a lot of rotations and a whole lot of nutting. Warlock does find an Isvan room. Sorry, go ahead.
A word on the anti-mage build here. Some anti-mages, like for example, if you watch Burning or some of the Chinese players play anti-mage, they'll get 1 point in each skill and then level up stats to give them more HP and survivability. In this case, he felt safe going for more mana break, which I think is a good decision against the Bristleback. But I would still like to see him get a value point in Spell Shield because the first point is 26% magic resistance, whereas each subsequent point is only 8%. But he's got a very escapable build because his blink comes back so soon, although that may not be necessary. In the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it's a safe build. well, minus the lack of spell shield, but it might just be what he's comfortable with. And also the blink though is really nice, especially if you're being chased by a bristleback. Because if say you blink aggressively and then it's on cooldown for 12 seconds, that could be enough for them to get the kill on you. Meanwhile, Ember Spirit gets killed by the OD. He drops the hammer on it. I missed it, unfortunately. It was looking bottom. Sorry, folks. And quick kill coming up from then. Imagine Venge was around as well. He does have a remnant there, so when he will be able to zip back, Witch Doctor is waiting for it. Does have a value point in Voodoo, so the 2-1-2. I'd like to see more points in Maledict in later to come. We'll have to see if this Ember Spirit wants to zip right back to it. The Spirit's going to be there. It goes. So did despawn. He's going to have to TP. Cast comes out. That's going to bounce between them. Bounces up to the Warlock. Unfortunately, not able to get more. Nice Maledict as well, though. I think that's OD. No, he's got bottle charges and the Warlock last word. So good play from him. Venge not hit by the Maledict. It's going to be fine. Shadow Word is a fantastic heal. 11 seconds, so it heals you for 275 health at level 2. Or nukes you for that much. That's impressive.
Wow, that was really well, even more impressive. You were quick there on those numbers, Wolf. I like that.
Guess what's happening?
I like to read the wiki every now and then. That's all good though. Andy Mage up in the top lane. Top lane does have his mana void up now, so can maybe finish off the bristleback if he's running rate pretty low, but it's going to be hard. He's got to be really low though, as the level 1 is only 0.4 mana, or sorry, 0.6 mana. I think that's 0.4. I don't remember now. That's Necro's ulti. Ravage, though, is up, and Tide's looking to make a move with that. He's got 3 points in Kraken Shell, which makes me think he wants to farm Ancients, and there is one stack, but they're not going to get another one out here. Medusa, meanwhile, has just been left free farming bottom. Going to go for that, looks like a Linken's build. That'd be why you get a Ring of Health. So, Linken's, this game, I actually really like it. They've got... There's a few spells... All of the spells on the side of Herpes that would be cancelled by Linken's, except for Shadow Word, I think are really important for the Medusa to cancel, other than maybe Gush. Magic Missile, you definitely don't want your Medusa to get controlled up in any way, and you don't want her to lose that intelligence from the Astral Imprisonment at all. Not to mention, you do not want her to get mana voided when she's completely empty. That's it. A smoke rotation from Herpes is going to come out. They're going to find the Ogre Magi. He's going to get. He's going to get imprisoned up. That said, it was a nice split from there. They managed to dodge the cask. Ravage comes out onto 3. Ogre Magi is going to drop. The Medusa ulti comes out. That's going to slow everybody down. Witch Doctor, nice job of running back towards the Medusa. Get some more vision going that way. The Tidehunter is going to freeze up. Start getting right-click down. Stun. Oh, gets dodged, unfortunately, by the Astral Imprisonment. He's still got a hammer to drop. He hasn't let it go yet. That Snake bouncing through doing a lot of damage, and they're going to back off after getting 2 kills. I think that's all right. 2 for 0 there. Warlock keeping everybody alive, and Andy Mage rotating into the fight. He's only 500 away from his Battle Fury, which will put him at a pretty solid time, probably about 14 minutes for it.
Yeah, that was a great fight for them. The Medusa did get the ult off, but you're starting to see her weakness early, which she can't do that much. And of course, the Witch Doctor didn't have his ult to combo with the Stone Form, so that was unfortunate. Another thing I wanted to point out with your comments on the Linken Sphere is that there's one major spell that stands out to me as something that she wants Linkens to prevent, and that's the longest range single target spell in the Dire team, and the one that's most threatening to her, and that is, of course, the Vengeance Swap. Because when you have a single target that means everything to one team, you want to usually swap them out for the Venge and kill them. And if you don't have that if you have the Linkens to prevent the long-range swap, it's going to be that much harder for them to close the distance and get to the Medusa. But of course, this early in the game, the Medusa is really unable to threaten their team, and they're going to have to stem the tide here of the aggression from Herpes.
Play on words there, totally appreciated. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Tide.
Thanks.
Throwing that out there. Yeah. Dad jokes, right? They're the best thing ever. Medusa farming well, got some stuff on the Crow. That's the rest of her Perseverance. That'll be nice. She can keep Mana Shield on a lot longer and absorb some damage with that. I think Anti-Mage is only 100 away from his Broadsword, 3 CS. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, though, Self-Imprisont's coming out while he's waiting for his allies to rotate up. Chain comes out onto the Venge, doesn't latch onto the OD. Tide walks in, gets an Anchor Smash and a Gush off. There's a Warlock ulti coming out, and this Bristleback's going to be moving real slow. Oh, that last Quill Spray almost brings down the Tide. They multicast an Illusion, unfortunately. Coconut's bouncing through, though. They get it off. No ulti from the Witch Doctor to follow up. kind of a chaotic fight. Only the bristleback going down, but got some rotations. It was a nice play by the OD to self-imprison and wait for an ally to show up. And they've still got Sanities and Eclipse. They can go on the Ember Spirit. They've got the instant stun from the Warlock, but deciding not to follow up. Tide's quite hurt. He's gonna want to back off to this offlane and get a little bit of CS maybe before he goes.
Yeah, and this OD has been getting things done throughout this early game. He's already got 5 kills up on the OD. He's been a consistent presence, helping in the ganks and participating in these fights. And that's kind of a best-case scenario that you.
Up on the top lane, though, they're going on the anti-mage. He gets cast and drops down to the Witch Doctor's Maledict. So caught the tail end of that one there, and nice rotation coming up from them. The multicast again, I saw that come out, also quite hard to deal with, and then physical damage piercing through. Sorry about that. Just saw them.
I'm sorry, that had to be a multi, right? He dropped really quick.
Yeah, he got multied and then coconutted and then bristlebacked, as well as Maledict was on him. So it wasn't great.
Got coconuts and staple guns, and you got any more of those? I'm looking forward to.
That said, I can't even talk right now. The doing the dance is the Witch Doctor manages to bring down the OD with the help of his ogre. You get a crit, and that's a quick kill coming out onto OD.
Yeah, that'll end a dominating streak there. So they do get something back out of it. 2 cores going down for the side of Herpes, so that'll slow him down a little bit. The Anti-Mage does look like he's completed his Battle Fury, so he's going to want
Anti-Mage
to
is
do his PvE.
going to go aggressive onto this Medusa as well. She doesn't have mana. He's just going to start chipping away at her. Blinks forward, fakes it out. Not sure what he wants to do here. He's going to need a couple more hits on her to burn her mana and then mana void her, I assume, but he's starting to take tower shots. Kind of an awkward thing.
There. He wasn't sure if he wanted to.
Yeah, and with the Witch Doctor rotating around, he's going to get coconutted. He can't disjoint that, by the way. That said, OD is going to come in. He's got his Astral Imprisonment if he wants it. Two orbs, and Witch Doctor's dropping very low. Oh, Mystic Stake not going to go there, and rip Witch Doctor off on the sideline, trying to TP out, I think. OD manages to pick up a nice kill, so an odd play coming up from the Anti-Mage, but his allies rotate well and they make it worth it. Just a quick little pickup for the OD, and that puts him 6-3.
He did that on purpose, man. He did that on purpose.
Baited. Next level gaming. That's what this is.
I think the Anti-Mage himself could have turned around and killed the Witch Doctor. I think what happened there, I'm going to guess, is that he didn't click on the heroes to see what their mana pools were, because he would have noticed that the Medusa was in a dangerous range, and so was the Witch Doctor.
Aggressive Astral comes out on the side of Herpes, but then they drop the Golem and the Warlock. I'll drop the Golem and the Ravage from Warlock from OD. Words! I can't. Overworld Destroyer manages to pick off the Witch Doctor. Ogre's already dropped down. The Ember Spirit's going to come in, look for some cleanup. Tide's dropping very low. He's going to go down. Bristleback. Oh, he manages to pop his stick charge. He's going to live. Medusa does drop on this in the meantime. Swap from the bench. They're looking for a swap. Doesn't have mana for it. Bristleback dies to the OD. He's very low, and Ember Spirit's going to be able to get away. Yeah, I was trying to say they dropped the Warlock ulti and followed up with a Ravage, but it just...
a lot of things being dropped.
It didn't happen. I didn't word. Forgot to English.
So Ember is the only Radiant survivor there from that disastrous fight. Again, the Medusa came in, got her ult off, which also, good thing you mentioned earlier and corrected me on the bristleback damage, synergizes well with the quills from the bristleback, but they just didn't have enough survival to stay in that fight. They didn't have enough damage to take down Herpes before Herpes destroyed them. So, yeah, things are really going well again for this Herpes team.
Yeah, and one other thing they do have is if they can get a good Medusa ulti into a Witch Doctor ulti, because it is physical damage as well, so they'll get that increased physical damage and the Quill Sprays. They have a decent little combo there, plus the Sleight of Fist, bam, when it gets higher levels. So they do have some options here, but Herp's not really giving them any chance to get them going. And finally the Tide's going to look to clear up the stack. Is it going to go? No, doesn't. Misses the stack. Probably going to blame his teammate there. Was kind of in the area. That's what you do in Dota, right? When something doesn't go right, blame the teammates. That's how that works.
Start rapidly pinging and.
Yeah. Mid lane though, they're gonna get a magic missile off from the Ember Spirit, and they've the offensive force staff forward from the OD, but he's gonna have to self astral. He's not looking too good. Vengeful swap, not gonna go. The Maledict's gonna take him out. Maybe it's the tower that got the final hit. Not too sure. So a bit of a misjudge there, not realizing that the Ember Spirit had some allies sitting right behind him. OD,
yeah, you gotta be too excited there, and it's always iffy to dive a tower sometimes, especially against a hero like Ember Spirit, who's very mobile and can most likely disengage if he has a mana or a remnant ready for the purpose.
The Anti-Mage is leading the net worth charts, though, followed up very quickly by both the Outworld Destroyer and the Medusa. So pretty even on farm there, though. That said, I think I like Herpes' chances late game up against the Medusa. Because one thing I haven't mentioned is Sandy's Eclipse will remove mana pools, even if it doesn't do direct damage. It does burn mana as well. So Medusa's gonna lose a lot of her mana when if she gets eclipsed, even in the late game, which can set up more chances for a decent mana void off of her. But we'll
That's
have
an
to see.
excellent point, actually, and I feel like maybe we could see this OD go for
Up in
an
the top
Aghanim
lane though,
Scepter.
smoke rotations coming out from the side of the techies. They get the cask off onto the anti-mage. He didn't get his stun. He's gonna get multicasted after getting maledicted. He's dead. And a nice mistake to finish off. Medusa says, "Kill secured. Thank you very much."
Yep, and a
Reports.
great time to win the lottery there for the Ogre Mage as he gets off a timely multicast. That Anti-Mage got his Battle Fury at a decent pace, but he has died a few times since, so
Mhm.
Raiden have to be happy about that.
Mid lane though, they're gonna Witch Doctor's gonna get a return kill onto an OD after OD takes out the Bristleback. Ogre Magi's in the area. Witch Doctor's being bottled up, but Dr. Jeff's not gonna want to go.
So a point I was mentioning earlier, actually, about the OD is if he gets an Aghanim Scepter, which I think is a recent buff to the upgrade,
Hmm?
then it will automatically take away 75% of enemy heroes' mana pool, even if they take enough damage from the threshold. So this could actually, if he goes that direction, be kind of a counter to Medusa. I mean, 75% of her mana pool, with each point counting as 2.5 points of damage, that's a huge counter to the Medusa.
Yeah, that is a massive amount for effective HP, which she has that Lincoln Sphere now, so her effective HP is going to be quite high with the additional intelligence as well as just regen and effective defensive ability of the Lincoln Sphere, being able to block that one initiation spell, giving her enough time to. Oh, she's gonna blink forward, and look at that! Right then, blocks that astral, and she's gonna walk away. So that Lincoln's just paid for itself.
Yep, that was a clutch proc right there. Though I think the if they communicated a bit better, they could ask the Tide to gush first to take off that Lincoln so they could follow up. But that might actually have been end up being good for them because Radiant heroes are swarming to the vicinity.
Yeah, and they get a defensive astral out of the OD, but they're just gonna walk away. They don't want to go. They don't know. The Tide kind of wandered off. And they don't really see where he is. He doesn't have his blink yet, but it's still a solid Tide Ravage can really screw a team fight, even if he doesn't have a blink. Anti-Mage in the meantime though is pushing the top lane, and he's gonna blink out. A lot of damage being done to this tower. It'll be in deny range. See if Witch Doctor wants to finish it off with a deny here. And oh, nope, not quite. Good effort. But that said, Anti-Mage and his crew, the Venge and the OD and the Tide, are going to chase down this Bristleback. He's going to be in a tough place. Mana Void comes out. That's a lot of damage right to Dr. Jeff. He's like, ah, run away. This Bristleback's a little too tanky. Nice stun comes out from the Venge after the imprisonment, and they quickly finish him off. But that Mana Void, I think he procced Bristleback, or his Bristleback procced like 3 times, like just poof, 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 because of the amount of
Yeah,
damage
he
he took.
almost killed his friend, the Tide Hunter, there just with those procs off the quills, and he had to be careful to step in and not die. But he does get away, and they do get the Bristleback, and more importantly, they got the tower. So that's
Yeah, no,
more
for
gold
sure.
going their way.
Anti-Mage picks up a Yasha, so working towards that Mantis style. In which case, that's when his ability to decimate this Medusa really happens, as the illusions will burn full mana. And so that's when she's going to really start. That's the kind of the window I think they're looking for to really hurt this Medusa. I mean, she's got the Lincolns, yes, but she still doesn't run away from heroes very well. I mean, she can pop her Stone Gaze and go, but if she's already been mana burned a little bit, it's going to be pretty tough for her. It's only going to take 2 hits to her. Well, 1 hit, and I think she would at this exact moment would drop her down, just because it absorbing damage and as well as direct mana being burnt. But won't take very many hits, and she won't be able to Stone Gaze and run away. So I Ember Spirit's dropping quite low, farming up this neutral jungle. Didn't know what was going on to him. But
Yeah, it looks like he wanted to just finish up his Battle Fury, but it looks like he's going to be short of it because he only has his Ring of Health. So some more items coming out. Heroes are starting to progress, become stronger late game. This is kind of what we expected. I think the game was probably going to go a bit long, and both sides would be okay with that. And I kind of like these games that are a clash of carries. As you mentioned earlier, there's pretty good synergy coming out from the Radiant team because of all the things that work well with Stoneform, but we have to see if they can execute that.
hmm And Warlock's gonna start getting points in Fatal Bonds now. He is level 10, so we get that second level Goblin Golem and get some Fiddle Bonds, and that's when we might start seeing some really big combos with these massive AoE ultis where people are getting hit almost twice. If the entire team, if 4 people get hit by Sanity's Eclipse, it's like they all got hit by 2 of them, just because they will each Venge dies off. And what the hell is Venge doing here? I guess I died warding, boys. Space created.
Might have been going on an ill-fated shopping trip there. We always see poor Doctor Evil in all of these games. They're always just ganking him. The ganks always seem to run right into him. He's got that magnetic component where some people eat arrows and some people just
Yep.
always attract the ganks.
Yeah. Back to what I was mentioning about Fatal Bonds is because it transfers 25% of damage done from that hero to every other hero or unit linked. So if you get hit by if there's an AoE that does 100 damage to 4 people and they're all linked, they will each get hit by the initial AoE and then each get hit by 25% of the other people. Or I guess it has to be 5 people for it to be 100%, but 5 people, it will transfer double damage essentially across. So when you have things like Ravage, ooh, good Force Staff, and himself in prison from the OD, but things like Ravage, large AoE, Mana Void has a very large damage area on it, as well as the Sanity's Eclipse. That said, stun, hasted Ember Spirit's going to come in, counter initiation from the Tide, gets off a beautiful Ravage. They quickly burst down the Ember Spirit. Poor guy had a haste and didn't even have a chance. Ogre's running away. He's got the negative last word. He's going to drop down. Medusa's ulti comes out. Coconut's bouncing through. Warlock's looking to get off, and oh, good upheaval. And that's a lot of slow coming out onto them. They managed to swap the Medusa back into it, and I think Medusa's going to be dropping here very quick. Animage comes in, and she just melts down. So very nice counter initiation from Dr. Jeff on that Tide Hunter. Beautiful Ravage coming from him. Stops them in the tracks. Really locking down that Ember Spirit and just bursting him into the ground.
Yeah, and we talked about this last game with the use of Tide Hunter as initiation or counter initiation. I think that was a perfect situation for him, where instead of trying to go in first and start fights, he'll just say, hey, if you guys want to come in, I'll wait and we'll pull you up. And then they chain that together perfectly to instantly bring down the Ember Spirit and then kill the other Radiant heroes or force them away from the Medusa. Of course, the Lincolns was taken away by the OD so that you could be swapped back. And by the time the Anti-Mage got to the party, it was pretty much over already.
Yeah, and even if you don't... That's one nice thing about Imprison is it is a decent way to break the Lincolns, and then allow the Venge to swap, because it's getting that Imprison off. I mean, it's kind of one of those things. You give a little, you take a little with it. Sure, you can hold them in position to get your team in position, but you also let the other team get in position and counter initiate or catch up or kind of give them some reaction time there. But it was a good use there, knowing that the Lincolns was up and popping it. I was sitting here in Invis. Ember Spirit does have a Battle Fury now, though. 26 minutes is a little bit... It's fairly slow, but at the same time, it's kind of necessary. There's not a whole lot you can do. Sometimes you just get a slow Battle Fury. He's going to be diving this. Hope he sees the OD and quickly zips away. Good stuff from him, keeping a Remnant out.
Yep, good play on that. You'll see that from Ember Spirits very often. They always keep a defensive spirit somewhere whenever they're going into questionable territory. I'm liking the aggressive wards from the Dire. You've got basically 2 aggressive wards in both deep jungle spots on the Radiant side of the map, and it looks like they want to use that vision to tighten the noose and help set up their team fights.
Yeah, and I just swapped my vision around for the people watching so that you can see on the minimap here the difference in vision for this is the Dire's vision. So you can see they've got all of this vision here in the jungle, and then up here, any rotations coming through there. This is the Radiant vision. This entire half of the map, well, almost basically like this, is just dark. So an unfortunate difference there from coming out from them, and one of the reasons why the Dire is so confident taking a lot of these fights is they know where these heroes are. Another hasten for the Ember. This last one got him killed. Ooh, good pickup from the OD. That kind of came out of nowhere on me. Didn't see him with the gold from it. I guess that's from the mid lane engagement. He now has a Scythe of Vice, and he's getting healed up by the Warlock. They've got mana boots and whatnot to keep him alive. Warlock is going for an eggs. Has a little over half of it there. Just needs the... not able to get that imprisonment off. Just short. So a little unfortunate there, but looking for that gank.
So do you know if the... I'm not sure on this. I think it does, but do you know if the Scythe of Vice removes... Did they just double smoke? Do you know if the Scythe of Vice removes the Bristleback's defensive properties from his passive?
I do not know offhand. I I know it removes most passives. I think it does. It'll still show him with spikes. Oh, they imprisoned the. Not sure who they imprisoned off the top of my head, but they quickly ravaged for the Ember Spirit. I think that's fine. Cast Coconut's bouncing through. That's causing a lot of problems for them. Mystic Snake's gonna get bounced through. Doesn't proc on the Tide. That's all right. Pipe picked up by someone. Bristleback. Yeah. I don't know offhand. You want to take a second and give that a quick check on the wiki? That'll be fine. I can handle the camera and the casting for a sec.
Sure, sounds good. I'll do that.
Okay. And so while he's doing that, just gonna kind of watch around. OD does somehow get force-staffed up here. He is gonna be all alone. Bristleback pressuring up the mid lane. Warlock did go for a not Warlock, sorry. Okay, someone somewhere has. Where the hell? Oh, it's his own. Bristleback has a medallion. Very good on him. Excellent at bringing down some of these tanker heroes and these high armor heroes, as Anti-Mage does have a fair bit of armor. And is going for a heart, it looks like, which I really like. I guess it could be a Vanguard into Crimson Guard, but I think that'd be a little weird. Lots of pings coming up from him. There's a team fight starting to break out. They're going to go onto the Vengeful Spirit. She swaps the Tide in him, then he quickly blinks out. Nice play coming up from those two. Able to secure themselves, getting out of the fight. Medusa pops a Stone Gaze for some illusions, though. And she gets Mana Burn very quickly and is going to have to back off. So Stone Gaze is on cooldown. Ravage is going to be up in about 70 seconds. You back with me?
Yeah, it says on the wiki, Doom fully disables this ability with Aghanim Scepter, while Chronosphere and Hexes only disable the passive Quill Spray. So he still does get.
He gets to reduce damage, but not the proccing of extra damage. So it's partially disabled. Okay, good to know. But meanwhile, not a lot happened. Just kind of an unfortunate Stone Gaze coming out, so it didn't really accomplish a whole lot. Anti-Mage, I assume Anti-Mage has 2,600 gold in the bank. If he was going Crimson Guard, he'd have it. So Anti-Mage is going for a heart. I love it. I think that's perfect. Anti-Mage, just tank up and then start split pushing with those illusions. Push down some towers. Because I think they're starting to feel a little worried that this Medusa is getting a little too tanky. And they're going to go on this Ogre Magi who just TP'd in. He gets hexed up and quickly bursts down. The OD sitting there, they're going, thank you for the kill. Thank you very much.
Yeah, he's saying, did you look at my inventory, man? I've got a hex. You can't just come in like that. And that'll bring the Anti-Mage closer to his heart. I do agree with you that it's a nice pickup. Most of their methods of killing him so far are still going to be based on burst. So that heart really protects him from that and just allows him to be more of a presence and flash farm a little bit more effectively, because he did not go for Vlad's, which some Anti-Mages get so they can leech life from whatever they're attacking. So the heart gives him more staying power on the map. So yeah, I think it's a pretty good, pretty standard third item pickup here.
I like the Vlad's pickup on Anti-Mage, even if it's late. Like, even if it's like a fourth thing, you just kind of grab it. I think it's fantastic. It gives him decent damage, as he has pretty high stats. It gives him more armor. So there's no real like armor reduction heroes. Like, it's better against if there's an ET on the other team. Ooh, aggressive swap onto the Bristleback, quickly stunned up. Oh, and the Warlock channeling from 100 miles away is going to channel that ulti. Enemy shows up the Mana Void, doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but Fridge Master on the Ogre is going to look to run away. Nice Witch Doctor ulti going through. Maledict on quite a few Ravage blown to get everybody out of there. And they're just going to go and clear up. No one's dropping yet. Anti-Mage is low. He's got Maledict. It doesn't take for a whole lot. OD's coming in, though, and he's got his ulti. They're still going on this Tide. Tide's kind of baiting them. OD, look up top, though. Your buddy's getting chased down, and they're going to look to back off. They're all covered in the Fatal Bonds. OD drops the ulti, and look at that. Quick double kill and burns all of Medusa's mana, and that's a quick wipe coming out on the side of OD. That ultimate doing work. He did have his second Mystic Staff picked up. That's where he was for that fight, grabbing that, so explains why he had that much more mana.
That was the proverbial hammer right there. That thing hit pretty hard. And there's a couple good things in that fight that I want to point out. The Warlock did a good job of patiently holding onto his ulti, not dropping it just to pick off the Bristleback and Ogre, because he saved it for the counter initiation, like after the Medusa's ultimate and the Witch Doctor attempted to ward, which could put the Dire in a dangerous spot with those two comboing so well. The Rock came down and instantly put an end to those plans. And then the OD just came in the back line and just started wreaking havoc.
Misclick from Venge. It's a stun off on a creep instead of the Bristleback. Quick lane of Rax, though, and they're going to want to get out of here. Last game, they had a little bit of problems disengaging, but looks like they're going to be excellent this time. They got blinks and blink daggers on everybody, and Animage has his heart. But that's the combo I had mentioned. That fatal bonds into three hero the three hero Sanities and Clips just crushed them. Like, boy, instantly
Yeah.
took out the ogre magi and the witch doctor, and then the Medusa only had a pittance of health left. I think, and this, ooh, this Roche is falling very quick. The minus armor coming up from the Venge, and then just the pure physical damage from the OD. So one thing you don't think about very often is how much OD's physical damage is, because you always look at his arcane orb, which is 224 pure damage on every right click, on top of 275 just physical damage. Like, he's hitting for over 400 a pop, probably 400 after physical reductions, depending on the hero, and it's devastating.
Yeah, the OD is really starting to put out a lot of damage now as he's starting to get his core items up. He had his Sheep already, of course, just finished his Shivas. And yeah, Roche even doesn't last long against the OD orbing. And with the Aegis and Sanity's Eclipse coming off cooldown soon, the ult's coming up for the Dire, they might try to take a second lane of Raxus here.
Yeah, and with that, Animage is going to pick up a Skull Basher, so going for that control. Going to want to build that into an Abyssal Blade pretty quickly. And with one lane of Rax, they're probably going to be feeling pretty comfortable. Uh, not too worried about pushing too incredibly hard here, but Warlock does pick up that Ags finally, so that's going to be nice for him, those Flaming Fist procs. And Warlock's ulti was... Oh, Courier, what are you doing here? Oh, nope, not going to go for it. Medusa's like, run away. It is going for Yugle Song, so looking to get that butterfly. What I mentioned is, bottom, in the jungle, we're going to have the supports going at each other. Ogre, I don't think you can really kill Warlock before he gets help, but Warlock can't really do anything to him. Finally going to get my point out. Golems. They do pure damage with Flaming Fists that now procs through Magic Immunity when there's two of them. So, they can proc for, I think it's like 150 pure damage that goes through Magic Immunity 60% of the time they right-click you. It sucks.
Golems hurt. Golems have always been good just for the effect alone, but yeah, Golems hurt real bad. There doesn't seem to be any kind of diffusal blade coming out, and plus you need two of them to get rid of both Golems, so the teamfight presence for the Dire is just ramping up even more.
Oh, that's it. They're going to blink and they Ravage for the Medusa. I think that's totally worth it. Look at how quickly her mana pool disappeared. Anti-Mage with his illusions attacking very quickly and bursts her down. And then they're going to look, they're going to see, they get the Shiva's Guard on the Bristleback, no orb, then they hex him up and he's going to drop quickly. The Ember Spirit manages to get out and they quickly bring down, I don't even see why that Ogre dropped so fast other than just reasons. OD is getting most of the way towards his Refresh Orb. He's got Oblivion Staff and 1,600 gold in the bank. They're going to look to get this tower and they're just waiting for the creeps to show up. And then they're going to look to take this.
Yep, those aggressive wards really paying off as they've kept Vision on the Radiant side for the last few minutes. Herpez has been very cohesive. I mean, they've worked together and know exactly what their objectives are. And yeah, they got a great pick off there on the Medusa, and it looks like the Witch Doctor here is going to get bashed and finished off by the Anti-Mage. He doesn't care about Maledict. He's got max spell shield and 2,800 HP.
Yeah, no, I didn't bother interrupting you for that one because it was just a poor little Witch Doctor getting sliced and diced by the Anti-Mage. Not a lot he could do. I don't even think I think this is going to be going to need quite the hold here though. Ooh, multicast comes out, but OD 1,700 health, very tanky. Nice mana void there. Quickly cleans up the Ogre, and that's a melee Rax down. This is going to be the ranged Rax. Match style popped, and he's just sitting there hitting the buildings. They don't even care. Warlock ulti dropped, but that looks like it was almost dropped defensively. You got to micro them golems, buddy. He's going to run away. And that Bristleback, look at how quick he's dropping. Even with a pipe and Bristleback on him, he goes down very fast. And the Medusa goes down as well, and that's going to be the GG call. And good game, well played. The celebratory ulti comes out from the OD, drops it on nothing. And good game, well played by both teams.
Yeah, another very impressive showing here by Herpez as they're just moving on in this tournament. And let me just say, if you got 3,500 MMR, these are the people you want on your team.
Yeah, no kidding. Excellent games coming out, lots of coordination. They might not be the most skilled mechanically, but they work well together, and it's fun to watch. They're doing great, and looking to win that $100 prize pool, so exciting stuff. Keep tuning in. We'll have more games coming up shortly on this stream. You can just stay here, and I'll watch whatever games I'm casting, or I'm sure there's other streams out around. Or you can also follow myself on Twitter at Wolf Dota. I'll give updates as well. And this has been Wolf Dota casting with my friend Korean Barbecue. Have a good one.